So, Roe v. Wade got voted out today. That's exciting. That's interesting. I wonder what that's going to do. For those of you who don't know, and I assume that's the majority of people who watch my channel these days, this didn't start off as a men's health channel, a men's wellness channel, a men's self-help channel, or a men's rights channel. This started off as an abortion channel because I had an abortion and I was mad. Really, really mad. I have not in my life very often experienced such intense rage as I experienced in the days leading up to and the days following my abortion. Because my baby was terminally ill and there was absolutely nothing that medicine could do to cure him, and he was going to die. The question was how, and the answer was abortion. I really wanted that baby. I wanted to have a little boy. And I dreamed about a little baby boy, and I wished for a little baby boy, and I hoped for a little baby boy. And unfortunately, at that point in my life, I wasn't going to have a little baby boy. That's the story that I told in video after video after video, talking about abortion and talking about all the things that people don't want to talk about when it comes to abortion. Because people like nice, easy, black and white answers. Either abortion is a wonderful thing for women and women's rights and women's reproduction and we need that, or abortion is the death of a human being, you're killing somebody, it's horrible. Nice, clean, black and white. People like that. It's very simple. It's easy to take a side and be all gung-ho about it. The problem is it's not necessarily very realistic for people like me who never wanted an abortion, ever, but suddenly found themselves needing an abortion. That's nice for the pro-choicers when it becomes politically expedient. Oh, we can't forget those women who needed an abortion, except that those people are very happy to forget people like me the moment it also becomes politically convenient. Like, oh, well, you know, you didn't like Planned Parenthood? Oh, you say the nurses treated you like shit? Well, you're probably lying. Oh, you nearly bled to death after your abortion? You're a liar. That doesn't happen. Except it does. It happened with me. I nearly died. I remember my husband holding my hand while I lay in a pool of my own blood after my abortion. My baby was dead. I was half dead, and I just wasn't having the greatest of times. I was a little grumpy. And then when I went out and I talked to people, you're a baby-killing whore, you're lying, Planned Parenthood is full of saints, and you must just be a horrible person. My first video, I barely made it through. I had to do several takes because I kept bursting into tears. And the thing I kept on thinking, the driving force behind it all, the fire that kept on pushing me forward even though I wanted to quit. Fuck all those people. Fuck them. That's what I kept thinking. You're lucky you don't understand English yet. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to say those words in front of you much longer. Yeah, fuck those people. Fuck those people. The story I shared much less was the second pregnancy I had after that. I got pregnant again. It took us a while because we kept trying to get pregnant and trying to get pregnant. We just couldn't for some strange reason. It probably had something to do with my husband's brain tumor. It was probably affecting his fertility because it was affecting his entire body more and more as time passed. And so his fertility probably took a pretty significant dip there for a while. And I kept thinking it was me. You know, I'm not as young as I used to be. That's got to be it. Only I was still relatively young, so I don't know what was going on there. But I finally got pregnant again after trying for a really long time. And I started feeling horrible right away. Like something wasn't right. Now, I've been pregnant 7 times in total. This is pregnancy number 7 right here. And that was pregnancy number 6. And right away, something felt wrong. Now, when I got pregnant with the baby we aborted, which was pregnancy number 5, I didn't feel right, and I didn't know why. And I kept thinking something's wrong, and I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. And I kept on kind of talking to people about it, and they were like, oh, you're not having any morning sickness. That's nice, isn't it? And I was kind of like, yeah, I guess. Something just doesn't feel right. And I kept that to myself up until the point that we got the test results. And then the moment we did the screening, because they give you a screening before you give you the pure diagnostic tests, because those are a little invasive. And everybody thinks, oh, well, the screenings aren't accurate. The tests aren't accurate. No, the screenings are inaccurate. The diagnosis is pretty damn accurate. They tested it 3 separate ways. It's not like we didn't know for certain, but I remember when the screening results came in, I knew right then and there. My son was going to die. And something just didn't feel right. So then I got pregnant again and again. Something just didn't feel right. Only at that point, my state that I was living in had decided, hey, you know what? Let's do some political posturing. Let's make everybody think we're really good, righteous people. Let's ban abortions. And I remember being about 6 weeks pregnant, standing in my kitchen, washing dishes, and holding up a big, huge chef's knife in my hand, and thinking, you know what? I'm not going to put my family through what we went through this last time. I'm going to get into my car, and I'm going to drive to an ER, and I'm going to park outside as close to the door as I can get, maybe in a handicapped spot, just right in front of the doors. And I'm going to run this fucking knife straight through my guts and hope that I hit the mark. And then I'm going to try to call the ER before I die from shock and blood loss and ask them to please pick me up. I'm right outside the front door. That's what I'm going to do. I remember thinking that day after day after day, just quietly to myself, I'm going to stab myself in the gut. I'm going to have to do that, aren't I? I don't know what else to do because they're making it illegal to have an abortion and we can't afford to travel for an abortion. And I know what happened the last time we ended up going to Planned Parenthood and we're not going to deal with that again. I'll just hope that I hit the mark, huh? And then one day I just started bleeding. And I knew it was a miscarriage. And yeah, it's sad that my baby died because I really wanted a baby, but that baby wasn't going to make it. And I knew it. I knew it from the moment I found out I was pregnant. I think I knew it when I was taking the pregnancy test. I knew something just didn't feel right, and I couldn't shake the feeling. Something felt wrong. And I really wanted a baby. I absolutely refuse to bring an infant into this world just so that they can die a lingering death. You can do that with your own kids. That's fine. I'm not going to stop you. You do what you want. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that with my kids. And so, if I find out my kid isn't going to make it, and they're going to die quite possibly right there in the delivery room in my arms, I'm not going to let that happen. By all means, feel free to call me a baby killing whore or whatever, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I've been through too much, and I've pushed myself too hard to get to where I am. This baby right here, he's so sweet, and he's everything I wanted, and he's everything I dreamed of. He's everything I hoped for. And I got the worst case of postpartum depression bringing him into this world. And I'm still recovering, and it's been over a year now. Hey there. And it's totally worth it. It's hard, but it's totally worth it. Because this one's gonna live. He's gonna have a life. He's gonna see his first birthday. He's not gonna suffocate to death in my arms. He's not going to die of heart failure within a couple months of leaving the womb. I wanted a baby. I didn't want a funeral. Do I love my children? Any of them any less? No. I love them all. Even the 3 that just didn't make it. I love those 3 a lot. So anyway, those of you who are all very, very pro-life and very, very happy that Roe v. Wade is finally gone, you know, celebrate. Congratulations. Cheers to all of you. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's inevitably going to happen. We all breathe a collective sigh of relief. Roe v. Wade is gone. And, you know, good riddance to Roe v. Wade. It was a horribly constructed piece of law. We, as the citizens of this country, deserve better. But what exactly does better look like? And I think the answer to that question is going to start coming to us over the next few months. Might take up to a year. We're going to start hearing stories. And the stories are going to sound something like this. Girl age 16 dies after drinking chemicals in botched abortion. Pregnant 13-year-old victim of incest commits suicide. Oops. It doesn't happen often. It hardly ever happens. That's what everybody always says. It hardly ever happens. That's what they told me. I had a 1 in 3,000 chance of having the kind of pregnancy that I had that caused my abortion. That pregnancy, 1 in 3,000. It hardly ever happens. Except it happened to me. And there are a lot of different things that can go wrong with a pregnancy. And that's what a lot of my earliest videos were about. I don't necessarily recommend you watch them. I didn't know how to edit back in the day, so. The reason I was able to get my abortion at all without having to travel out of state was that there was a hospital. I can't name their name, but they were very kind to us. They were kind to me, they were kind to my husband. They were kind to my dying baby. And they had a special exemption that they gave to us because our case was what they termed an extreme situation. And yes, it was extreme. It never happens. It never happens. That shit never happens except when it's happening to you. And then it happens. People really like to say that. But there are going to be those stories. How many hundreds of thousands of people are having babies right now? And if it's only 1 in every 3,000 pregnancies that results in one of these cases of trisomy 18, well, you know, someone's going to get that lucky number. In fact, right now, as we speak, the odds are very high that someone, somewhere in the United States, is having a trisomy 18 pregnancy. And the sad thing is, if they're getting far enough along in that pregnancy to find out that that baby is trisomy 18, they probably wanted that baby. They probably loved that baby. They probably decorated a nursery for that baby. They probably picked out a name for that baby and dreamed about that baby, prayed to whichever gods they believed in for that baby. Except they're not going to get that baby. They're going to get a funeral. Because sometimes life is just shitty. And now we've got uncertain protections for individuals like that. And I mean, let me be perfectly honest. I don't care about the 20-something college girl who just couldn't remember to take her pill. I really don't care. I know I should. I get it. I can't remember to take any of my medication. One of these days I'm going to develop some sort of horrible chronic disease that's going to require consistent taking of the medication at a certain time, and I'm going to die because I can't remember to take my medication. But until that day comes, somewhere out there, there's some poor college girl who screwed up, and it sucks to be her, and I feel bad for her, and I don't know what the solution to her problem really is, and I really don't care. I care about the married woman who wants one of these. Desperately wants one of these. Because these things are incredible right here. Stop eating my splint. They're incredible. They're magical. They're sweet. They're precious. And some poor woman out there in the world wants one right now. And she's not gonna get one. In fact, it's probably safe to say that it's more than just one poor woman out there in the world. And I mean, let's not just say it's a woman. It's a family. It's that woman and her husband, because the two of them made that baby together. They both worked for it. They both wanted it. They both hoped for it. They both dreamed about it. And they're both gonna mourn it. Just a month ago, or maybe 2 months ago, we finally buried my son's remains. I took a picture of his headstone, and it said, "If love could have saved you, you would have lived forever." There are people out there who are experiencing that right now. I wonder what's going to happen to them. I remember when I first started reading about abortions, there was this woman named Valerie Peterson. She lived in Texas, and Texas decided they were going to be all holier than thou and righteous and mighty, and they were going to make abortions, I think it was illegal after 20 weeks. It was something like that. And poor Valerie Peterson, she found out that her baby that she was trying to carry to term had a condition called alobar haloprosencephaly. And in case you don't know what that is, I'm going to put it up there on the screen so you can read it. Alobar haloprosencephaly. I would show you pictures of what that looks like, but I'm pretty sure this video would get taken down. Now, in case you are wondering what that looks like and you don't want any nightmare fuel in your diet, alobar haloprosencephaly happens like this. Let's make sure you don't go rolling off my lap, little one. When the human being is in the womb and they're very, very tiny, their brain is just a little tiny cluster of cells inside their head. And then as the brain grows and develops, it starts to split in two and form, and form two hemispheres. You know, you got your right hemisphere and your left hemisphere. That's what a brain is like. Now, sometimes when the brain is splitting in two to form these two separate hemispheres, it doesn't split exactly correctly, and you get some crossed wires, and that can cause a lot of problems. Now, people with a few crossed wires, when it doesn't split entirely and there's just a few problems, they can live, they can survive. They've got some issues. They got some very clear health issues and some problems and some functioning issues, and it's not the best, but you know, they survive. But sometimes when the brain is splitting apart, instead of just splitting apart almost completely but not quite, it starts splitting apart and then it just stops. And it barely splits apart at all. In fact, it just doesn't split. There is no right lobe and left lobe. There's just one big ball of brain. And all the wires are crossed. That baby's gonna die. And then, to make matters worse, the brain isn't the only thing that fails to split. The face fails to split symmetrically as well. And so you end up with a baby that has no nose, a gaping hole for a mouth, and one big eye. And I have looked into the faces of so many of those babies. And that's what happened to Valerie Peterson's baby. And Valerie Peterson, living in Texas, tried to obtain an abortion because her baby was terminally ill and incurable. And they told her, "We can't give you one. You might as well just go home and wait for it to die." And instead, she traveled to, if I remember correctly, Florida. I'm going to leave a link to her story in the description down below. You should totally watch it. It's a good story. She did a good job telling it. That's going to happen again. And I'm very sorry to whoever it happens to. And I hope that you have her strength. And I hope you speak up, and I hope you share your story. Because if enough of us do, if enough grieving mothers whose babies could never have lived tell their stories, eventually someone will realize we need a law to protect people like that. Roe v. Wade was not a good law. It was not a well-written law. It needed to be gotten rid of so that something better could replace it. That needs to happen. There needs to be a protection for the people who never asked for this death and sadness to come into their lives. I understand that nobody ever wants to need an abortion, except for self-righteous idiots who have no idea what an abortion entails. Abortions don't feel good, by the way. Just putting that out there. And sometimes you nearly bleed to death if you're lucky like me. There needs to be protections in place for people under these circumstances, and there are currently no guarantees that people are going to have those kinds of legal protections. And I've watched for years as lawmakers have batted these laws back and forth and back and forth. Oh, we're going to be really self-righteous and really pro-life, and we're going to save all the babies, only you can't save babies like mine. Not like that one. Not like your big brother. You can't save those babies. You could do a considerable bit to ease the suffering of those families if you wanted. That would be nice. That might be asking a bit much. I don't expect lawmakers to be intelligent. I expect them to be ambitious. I expect them to make decisions that are politically expedient and sound nice and shiny to people who might be voting for them. But I would like to think that sooner or later, somewhere down the road, lawmakers would make laws that are just, and I do not see any system of just law that subjects people to carrying a baby to term when they know that that baby is inevitably going to die. Some people want to do that, some people believe in it, and some people work for it. And I've met those people and spoken with them and looked at pictures of their babies who were, by that point, dead. I don't hold it against them, and I don't think they made the wrong decision. I think that when there is death in families, particularly when parents are dealing with the death of their children, they should be allowed to make decisions as the parents of those children for those children's well-being. I believe that very strongly. And I believe that when it comes to medical issues, the rights of the parents should be respected. I would like laws that would support that. So, rest in peace, Roe v. Wade. I really hope somewhere along the way someone brings us something better.